Carson Edwards and those guys were playing for Purdue, and
Sure. That was a good team.
It was a joke of a 3-point shooting foul, and just always something.
Always something.
So it'll be something this March too. I'll get my hopes up, and they'll break it. But,
yeah. Hey, this is the best time of the year, right? I mean, basketball just starting. Football's, well, it's about to wrap up, really, as far as college football goes. Although, it extends a little bit further now that the playoffs are extended, and just means the bowl games mean less and less. But that's all right, I guess.
Time.
Yep,
unless you're in the playoff, you're going to get the opt-out time. And like we said before, and we'll talk about a little bit, it seems to always work itself out, and it seems to be working itself out as we speak this past weekend.
Yes, it did. In fact, we should probably talk about that, because hell if we know, right? Hell if we know podcast. That's Chris, I'm Brian, and this is who we are. We talk college football, and this week we're going to talk about games from Week 10. Week 10 college football. Neither one of us have lots of great things to say. Chris has even less great things to say than I do, but we'll get to that. So we'll start with the first game. Let me share the screen. First game to look at is, well, the top of the hour was the Ohio State Penn State game, which looked way more interesting, in
Right.
August. Hell, even late September, mid-September, it looked a little better, didn't it?
It didn't look bad at the half. It was 17-14 OSU at the half.
Yes,
So,
and that's the thing. It was a bit of a farce, really. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. But Penn State had a little bit success running the ball, actually. They were able to get to the edge a few times and gash Ohio State's defense, and then they were fortuitous fumble just before the half, which they were turned into points and made it more interesting. Then Ohio State said, just, okay, we're all done here. We're going to go ahead and just throw the ball to Superman and Superman's little brother. And we're going to, each of those guys will have 125 yards, touchdown, 50-plus yard reception each. And then Penn State just had no answers. And now Penn State has a new record. I don't know if you know what that is. They're the first time in college football history that a team that started the top 5 loses 5 games in a row.
wow.
How about that? Yeah. How about that?
Well, that's a record that you don't want. I mean, if you're a Penn State fan, somebody break this record, please.
Please, right? Yeah, exactly. Come on. I don't know who they'll be. No one else is going to do that. So Ohio State takes care of business. Sand just looks, well, he's the Heisman betting favorite right now. And he,
really, well,
I mean, he looks good. Looks real good. Throws an incredibly catchable ball. You can throw the ball up to those two guys and they'll go grab anything anywhere. Got 2 good tight ends. They run the ball a little bit better. Their early success on running on early downs is still a little lower than like. It's only like 30-35%, something like that. But they were able to turn out some more yards, get some bigger chunk plays, and they looked a little better this week than they had. So if that's the case, then if they're starting to figure out the run game too.
Yeah,
dude,
right. Just makes things worse. Sand seems to be settling in. He is growing now. Like you said, with those 5 receivers, it comes with it. But he seems, of all the quarterbacks in the Big Ten, I'm sure you'll talk about Underwood. He seems to be growing as far as being is he a true freshman or redshirt?
He's redshirt freshman. Yeah,
redshirt freshman.
Well, so how that works actually. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. Did he go through the whole spring with Alabama and then transferred? I forget. He's a. I can't remember if he's a freshman or sophomore now. As far as eligibility wise,
no matter what.
Yeah, right, exactly, right.
Yeah, second year, no matter what. And I mean, he seems to be growing the fastest out of all the young quarterbacks.
Oh, absolutely.
Each week he looks better than he did the week before, than the week before that. So
right, he's had no stinker games, none. Like a couple of games he didn't play as well as he did, but he threw 400 yards last weekend. It's not this past weekend. 4 touchdowns. He just has complete control. This game he's 20 or 23, 316 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, just in control now. I mean, that's Penn State's obviously not a very good football team, but you play who's in front of you, and they're just mashing people, throwing all over their head. Some of the worst safety play I've ever seen from Penn State. I mean, I don't know if they're aware. Hopefully they're aware now. But Jeremiah Smith guy and Carnell Tate, they're pretty good about getting past the corners. So you might want to have
Right.
your safeties play on the end zone or something, because safeties are getting beat over and over and over again deep. Like, I don't know what your plan is, if you're supposed to be bracketing or what, but your defense ain't working. You need to come up with something better. It's too late then. They had 250 yards, 2 touchdowns between them. It's yeah, that's their
Yeah,
Death
they
Star.
just yeah, and boy, I tell you, I'm really gearing up for that Indiana Ohio State game at the end of the year, and for the Big Ten
Yeah.
championship. That's going to be a fun championship game. You know,
Yep.
both the big conferences, the SEC and Big Ten, have a chance to have really, because it's like A&M's chugging right along to it,
Absolutely.
and they're probably going to catch Bammer, is what it looks like, unless they slip up, which I would not predict, but anything's possible.
This season, are you
But
kidding me?
yeah, they're going to, that A&M Bama game is going to be lit too,
Oh my.
and that nightcap that's going to be Indiana Ohio State's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Speaking of Indiana, they come out a little slow. They had turnover in their first drive. They punted on their second drive, and then they proceeded to score, 55 points and a route to a 55-10 over a Maryland team who there's a rumor going around Mike Locksley got fired. Now, I think that was just some Twitter guy being cheeky.
Right.
However, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he gets fired, because Maryland has done their typical October, November, just dive bomb after a good September. They also have a freshman quarterback, but like Mike Locksley's been there for quite a while now. I mean, they're just not making any progress. They're at best, they're stagnant. And this season, they're probably regressing a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's another name on the list. Which, speaking of list, we have another name to put on that list.
We sure do. I'm running out of
So
room at the bottom.
more Sharpies and more paper.
Yep. I'll redo it. I'll be ready for next week, because I'm sure there'll be more next week too.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. So Indiana just looks phenomenal. It's funny. Indiana has had good offenses over the last 25 years here and there, and once in a while they'll put up a decent defensive effort, whatever, but it's just not been consistent. They have an elite defense this year, and obviously an elite offensive line and offense. And they're just pummeling everybody. Like, you're right, that Ohio State Indiana game, it's highly unlikely that Indiana is going to falter. Now, can Ohio State? I suppose they're going to play Michigan, so after last year, anything's possible. However, You're right, though. If they both stay on cruise control and win out, that's going to be a battle. And I'm not even sure. I guess the odds would probably be favored Ohio State, neutral field, slightly
I would pick
better. I
Ohio
mean,
State.
I probably would too, but I bet the spread isn't very much, so not much at all.
No, I mean, it's a coin flip. It's a pick 'em game. I mean,
Maybe
in my eyes,
3.5, something. Yeah.
Yep. I know, and I guess the only reason why I would pick Ohio State is what they bring in the wide receivers in the passing game. Would be the only reason. That's the big difference I see. Indiana has good receivers.
Right.
They're good. They're good run, but those three guys that Ohio State rolls out is the best in the country.
Yes,
And so
right.
as far as I can tell, where the only advantage in those two teams are. So that's how I'd pick Ohio State, and we will down the road. We're going to pick that game, but
Yes.
but yeah, that's just looking at it right now. Down the road, there's not much difference between them. They both both mirror each other pretty much.
Absolutely. I think Ohio State takes care of the ball a little bit better than Indiana, but I know that's probably negligible, basically, because Indiana can make up for that in a lot of ways. They've had one, real scare. That was the Iowa game, where they probably should have lost that game. But going into Iowa City is just like going into another universe. It's everyone plays badly. The next game I didn't get to see a hell of a lot of. Saw some highlights, cut pieces of the game here and there. Georgia trails Florida seemingly the whole damn game, and then of course Georgia does a Georgia thing, and they, make a couple stops, and they get ahead, and then they put the game on ice late. you saw more of this game than I did. What is
Yeah.
Florida doing well that they're able to maintain that lead?
Well, they started good. That's what Florida did. They started out well. Georgia's been notoriously this year starting slow the whole year. I think the stat
Yeah,
was after they were down against Florida, that was like 5 out of 6 SEC games. They were down a score or more in every single game, and they're like 5-1 in those games. So they're just as slow. And it's probably got to drive Kirby Smart crazy at this point.
oh
But
god,
they
absolutely.
just start slow. They don't come out ready, and then it takes as the game goes along, it takes them getting behind to get them going, and then it takes them a while to figure out what you're doing on offense for them to fix it and get you stopped. And while right now that doesn't seem to be biting them, it only bit them against Bammer, but
Right.
that's not a recipe for success, especially when you
No.
start getting close to playoff and all that. And so, but yeah, Florida fought, man. They did. Their defense played well. Lagway played pretty good. He was 15 to 24, 166 a touchdown, which is not highlight numbers or anything like
Right.
that. The only problem with Florida is they couldn't sustain anything. They were 2 of 11 on third down.
Oh jeez.
The same old Florida, right? Same old Florida on offense. And so they
Yep.
just couldn't whenever they had Georgia not on the ropes by any means, but when they had Georgia down a little bit, they couldn't sustain drives to really put any distance before Georgia got going. And so once they got the lead, just kind of felt me watching it, I just felt like once Georgia got the lead, that was it. Okay, they got the
Yeah.
lead now. I've seen this
That's
over and over where they come back, they get the lead, and then they wind up winning the game. That's what they did.
and
So
then they choke the life out of you. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Georgia moves on. Florida goes to 3-5, and it ain't gonna get any easier for Florida there either. So there's
no,
that.
Billy
So Georgia,
Gonzalez,
yeah,
he
he's
they would have had to win out to him have even a remote
yeah,
shot at that job because everyone's clamoring for who in Ole Miss, right? Everyone's
right,
clamoring for that guy, for Lane Kiffin. He's the
right,
and what at the end of this, let's talk about coaching the list for a little bit. I've got a
yeah.
couple thoughts on that.
Okay, at the end of this segment,
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
At the end of our recaps.
Gotcha.
So
So speaking of Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, the Fighting Ole Miss Running Rebels, not the Running Rebels, the Ribs, uh, in the Grove, take on South Carolina, who is a team that also might have a job opening that's going to be on Indeed or whatever they post these jobs. Ole Miss 30, South Carolina 14. Ole Miss kind of plays with their food for a while and just puts South Carolina away. Not much to say about this. They did what they're supposed to. Ole Miss, they beat a kind of a bad South Carolina team, and they keep their hopes alive. Right where they want to be. Um, Anything to add to the Ole Miss that in particular, or in general, or
I didn't get to
about the
see any
game?
of this one, but the only thing I'll say about this game is Ole Miss is the only SEC team this weekend to win by more than 2 scores.
Oh
Every
wow,
single other game in the league was 1-score games. Every single one.
huh? I'll be damned. And this one was, I guess, it was 2 scores at half too. So
Yeah.
yeah, so they took care of business. One team that did not take care of business that
How about this?
I specifically said, well, I remember glossing over it, saying, well, I don't anticipate Georgia Tech's going to lose a game to a 4-4 NC State, but did they ever? They gave up 48 points, lost 48-36, and man, that's a bad L. They've been flirting with bad L's for a while, off and on all
Yep.
year. So maybe it was imminent, and this was just the time that it finally come to fruition. Um, yeah, I mean they can't stop them at all. NC State just did whatever they wanted to
They
pretty
weren't ready
much
to
the whole
play.
game. No, they was not.
They
No,
was not ready to play. And we have said this ad nauseum on this show. You have to show up locked in, ready to play. And that happens in preparation leading up to Saturday. It does not happen on Saturday.
no,
And
no.
how
It's
many
too late
times have
then.
we seen? Yes, right. It's not a light switch. It's
Mm-mm.
not this light switch I can hit behind me, and now all of a sudden you're playing Georgia Tech football and Georgia Tech defense. It doesn't work that way. Those kids were
Right?
not ready to play that game. They just was not ready.
No.
And so, and it'll bite even in the ACC. It'll bite you.
It's absolutely will. Yeah. Another team we'll talk about in a minute that got bit too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
A
look at
little
that. Georgia Tech.
foreshadowing there.
Exactly, a little bit. Yeah. They gave it 583 yards and 240 on the ground. Gee,
Is that
NC
good?
State averaged 7 yards. That's pretty good. I don't care who you're playing. NC State ran the ball 7 yards a carry. Yeah, they controlled the clock. They did everything well. They took care of the business. I mean, they only had one turnover. Georgia Tech did, but
Right.
costly it was. But so Georgia Tech, they're thankfully everyone else in the ACC stinks too. So
Well,
they're
and if you're a
fine.
Georgia Tech fan, and I would have came to you before the game and said, "Hey, your team's going to score 36 points this weekend," you'd have felt really good
Yeah. Oh,
about
absolutely. Yeah.
winning that game,
Oh yeah.
and then
So who
just
we play
watch them
next week? No. You
implode.
want to talk? You want to talk about this game, right? No. We scored 36. We're fine, right?
Yep.
Now you gave up 48 and almost 600 yards of offense. So you're flirting with disaster. Eventually, turned into a plane crash. So there you go. Now the good news for you is we'll jump ahead real quick here. Miami decided that they are going to be who they are, and that's Miami or any team under Mario Cristobal. Just hot. You and I both said, and I just, watch the tape. Miami is one of the best teams in the country. They have maybe the best defense. That was not that long ago we said that, and now they've lost 2 games, one of which to SMU on the road. That's a solid 5-3 SMU team. But this is the Miami team that's like now they're on the outside looking in. They have
Yep.
They have no shot. Not no shot, I guess, but little shot. And that's just Miami, I guess, at this point. Like this is who they are, or who they're going to be, I guess. Um, they have senior leadership at quarterback and playing awful.
No excuse.
So no excuses, man. They had
There's
everything.
no
They
excuse.
paid money. They're forking out money to go grab Beck, and he goes, 2 interceptions again. Like he just turned the ball over all the time, and they just can't. I just don't know if you're a Miami fan, like where do we go from here? I don't even know. Like you're not gonna fire Cristobal, but
No.
he's not gonna lead you to the promised land either.
Nope. No, you if you're a serious national championship contender, you can't go into SMU and drop that game. You just can't do it. Not at noon on Saturday.
No, exactly. Right.
I mean, it's noon on Saturday, guys. You just show up, you take care of business, and you get out there with a win, and just. But Georgia fans are laughing their ass off because they've seen this movie.
Absolutely.
They know how this movie goes, right? They know. And then, Cristobal does what Cristobal does, and then Cristobal does what Cristobal does.
Yes.
So
and that ain't ever changing. You can change the colors on the uniform or his shirt he's on the sideline. This is it, folks.
And you can spend all that money. He is a 8-4 football coach, no matter the roster you have.
How did they lose? You look at the stats. This is ridiculous. SMU's 3 of 13 on third down, 0 of 1 on fourth down. They had 388 total yards, but they had 25. They have 25 carries. I'm gonna make sure I read that right for 23 yards for 0.9 yards per carry. Miami had the ball for 15 more minutes, had one more turnover, and somehow Miami loses in overtime. I just. That's impressive. That's going to be one of the most impressive. Like, how'd you win that game anyway?
SMU had 7 points off the one Beck interception in regulation, and that's the difference in the game. That Beck interception gifted them 7 points. And there you go. SMU, they're 3 of 13 on third down.
Yes, that's awful.
To make matters worse. And it's just, they rush for 23 yards. That's Miami football. And sitting here as a Tennessee fan, and we'll discuss stats when we go to that OU Tennessee game.
We'll get there.
That Miami, that's pretty impressive to lose that game. But Tennessee's like, hold my beer, because there's some pretty incredible stats again. So
this was earlier in the day. This is the same game. Well, it's the same game. That was just they changed the team names. All right, so Miami, no more. So long, sucker. Then we jump to Vanderbilt, traveling to Texas. And boy, Texas looked like they were going to put a whipping on, and they were for the longest time.
Yep.
And then I kind of gave up because I'm like, oh man, Texas is going to just roll through this. The next thing I know, I'm like, what the hell, 34-31? Yeah, Vandy scored 21 unanswered in the fourth quarter and made this really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Arch played
well.
better after his brain scrambled, I guess. That's what he needed. That's his reset button, his concussion. Whatever, 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, took care of the ball, he only carried the ball once. Texas was able to they finally, they only had 100 yards rushing. It wasn't like that. It was amazing, but they threw the ball well, took care of the ball, and that's enough to get a win over. That's Vanderbilt are who they are, right? I mean, they're gonna not gonna out talent anybody.
Nope.
Certainly not Texas, right? And it sort of catches up to you eventually.
And coming down the tracks here, and Texas got the short end of the stick in 2 weeks. Texas at Georgia, not between the hedges, and a de facto playoff eliminator. Those are starting to happen more and more now every weekend.
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
You're starting to have playoff eliminators where Texas or Georgia is going to have an NL after next Saturday night, and that is going to be 3, and you're out. So, that's going to start. I said, as the weeks go on here, that's going to happen more and more. Anyone with any two teams, good teams with 2 losses, are playing for playoff lives in those games. Just raises the stakes.
100%. Well, but I guess Kansas, Texas, they were able to hang on there, but I don't know. They turn a corner. That's going to be a good matchup if Texas continues to play like this. The first part of this game, and against Georgia, that's going to be a battle, man. That's going to be a good game.
Georgia, the Texas defense is good. They're really good. They just got, when they were up 34-10, the whole team seemed like they lost a little bit of focus. And Diego Pavia is never going to lose focus. He is going to play hard for 60 damn minutes. And that kid don't give a shit. He is going to come at you for 60 minutes, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, 400 total yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah, he's a dog, man. Absolutely. So, Vanderbilt's kind of, sometimes water finds its level. Maybe we're starting to find that a little bit with Vanderbilt, just because of like I said, he can't be Superman. Like he can carry him as much as he can, but eventually you're gonna have a team like Texas is gonna out talent you. You can be as gritty as you want, but it's only gonna get you so far.
And you're on tape, right? You're on tape for 7-8 games now, so defensive coordinators that are getting paid millions of dollars can sit back during the week and kind of scheme you up a little bit and be like, well, this is where we have our advantages. This is where we're going to exploit them. Because like you said, they're Vanderbilt. They're not going to out talent you. So you can scheme up with better players and come up with 34-10 fourth quarter lead just because your other teams have good players and better players than Vandy, and they have excellent coaching. So they've seen enough Diego Pavia on TV now or on tape to get a feel for what he wants to do.
Yeah, and he's been downloaded, and still he had 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
So that's even saying that. Just because, like you said, he's a ball. He didn't give up. We haven't talked about Notre Dame much, but they're kind of on their path to probably sneaking back and door way in the playoff again.
They're an 8-9 seed in the playoff. That's where they're going to end up. I bet you that it probably gives the playoff committee and the NCAA moist dreams to know that Notre Dame's going to get to host another playoff game this year.
Oh, absolutely.
They love that. They eat that up.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are. Look at Notre Dame's schedule the rest of the way. Like if they falter, then no. I mean,
we said thing about Miami, but
that's true. Right? They play Navy at Pitt, Syracuse at Stanford. That Pitt
at Pitt
next weekend. Yeah, I mean that could be a feisty game. Noon kickoff. It looks like so. Yeah, that's the only game that if you're a Notre Dame fan that you're kind of worried about.
Right.
No one else is going to be able to put up much of a fight. And Navy's probably a pain in the ass, but they're not. They're going to be.
Right.
They're not going to be good enough to win this game.
They seem to be morphing into what Marcus Freeman wants them to be.
Yes.
They seem to be morphing and turning into that team again that Marcus Freeman wants them to become. And so, at Pitt's the landmine. They get through that game, smooth sailing to probably a 7-8 seed in the playoff.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, winning that USC game was the difference, right? That's their
Sure.
season, and they win that game, and now they're control their destiny. Texas Tech rolls over Kansas State 43-20. Virginia hangs on to beat Cal. That was a good game. Virginia Tech had a nice lead on Louisville for quite a while, and then
Right.
Louisville put it on 28-16. Um, then was West Virginia, the Fighting Rich Rods take it to Houston
How about that?
45-35. That's West Virginia fans are getting restless for Rich Rod. I know it's only been there for like 15 minutes. And so go win the game on Houston on the road. I mean, that's a pretty damn big win for that program. First
Yep.
win in conference this year, and
And
that's a bad loss for Houston if they were going to win, try to do anything.
Houston fans are like, yes, it's basketball season.
Yes, exactly.
Let's
right,
go.
right. That's right.
Because that eliminated Houston from playoff consideration right there. They're done.
100%. 100%.
So.
Yep. And then we'll rewind back to other big games here in a minute. But USC goes in Nebraska, wins 21-17. Nebraska is up 14-6 at halftime and leads that game 14-6 for quite a while. USC ties it up and then goes ahead in the fourth quarter. The biggest thing for here is one, Dylan Raiola injured his foot, decided to just stay in the pocket forever, which has been a big problem for him to not bail, throw the ball away. Got a broken foot, so he's done. And then their quarter, I gotta make sure I read this right earlier. The quarterback that came in to relieve him, Raiola, that is, Latif, his stat lines, and you're reading that right, he was 5 for 7 for 7 yards passing. How the fuck do you throw the ball 7 times and get 7 yards?
That's a lot of tunnel screens, bro.
Dude, like his average depth of target must have been like -3.
A lot of running backs out of the backfield.
Oh my God. And USC did not play well. Miami was terrible. He was 9-23, 135 yards at interception. They got juice out of King Miller, that kid that tore out Michigan a few weeks ago. Nebraska's, they actually were able to run the ball for 120 or 165 yards from EJ Emmett Johnson, but they lost in such a Nebraska fashion. I think it was like the 27th game in a row they lost to a top 25 team.
Didn't they just give Matt Rule extension or something? Or
a 2-year extension earlier in the week, yes. And that's like, why? What are you giving James Franklin's brother an extension for? Like, what are you scared of? He's going to go to Penn State? They don't want him. I don't care if he played there or not. Under turnout of whoever it was and walk on, but he's James Franklin. He's the most James Franklin, Mario Cristobal. Pick your dud coach that's just going to take a shit in a big game, and he's the same guy. They're cut from the same cloth. And Nebraska, they find hilarious ways to lose. And this one, they're trailing 21-17. It's 4th and I think 2 or so. And maybe it's 4th and 1. They hand the ball off to the running back, and he trips over his own feet and falls down a yard short of the first down. Turn the ball over on downs. That was it. It's like, not that they're going to necessarily win, but
that's why you're Nebraska.
You can't. That's why you're Nebraska. Like, I was watching that and I was just howling, laughing. Like, this is so perfect. You can't write this. This is like the Bad News Bears. And so their losing ways continue. And my whole dream of watching Nebraska and Iowa in Farmageddon, Black Friday for a playoff spot, has been crushed because Nebraska is all done. All done.
Yeah, that's
and USC survives.
You talk about two teams. If Nebraska or Iowa would have messed around and went 10-2 or something like, and made the playoff, my God. Now
we'd have to go back to 6 teams.
Well, right. And when they go to 16, who's to say they won't? They might get in. 9-3 is get in then.
9-3, that's getting in. Absolutely, it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So USC does their thing. They're staying. They have a date with Oregon coming up pretty soon. So they have some work ahead of them, but they're still in the hunt.
They're alive.
They only have 1 loss in the Big Ten so far.
Yeah, and that's it's not a playoff eliminator, not for Oregon. Oregon's only lost once, but it kind of is, because that those 10-2s at the end of the year, that tiebreaker, if USC wins that game, who's to say that don't keep Oregon out of the playoff at that 10-2, depending on how many, whatever shakes out with Notre Dame and other conference champions and things like that. So
right.
10-2's 90% of the time going to get you in, but depends on
Not if
what
everyone
10-2
else
you're
is too.
battling. Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Utah just throttled Cincinnati, which they were favored by like 10.5, I think. I think you picked,
Yeah.
I think we may have both picked them to win. I picked spread or whatever, but boy, they look good. They had a couple of losses. They're Texas Tech and BYU. That's a good football team in Utah. Like that, they're going to continue to battle. They don't really have a shot to play out necessarily without a lot of help, but they hand Cincinnati their first loss in the Big 12,
Right.
and so that puts them at a almost certainly out of the running for the sort of playoff dream that they had. Because they lost, second losses to first loss was to Nebraska opening weekend, which they had Nebraska on the ropes and threw an interception late to give that game away. But
it'll be interesting to see what a 10-2 Utah gets treated like when it comes to playoff selection. And the don't the rankings come out tonight? The first rankings?
Oh, they do actually. Yes, yeah.
I think they do. They may be out. I thought they come out at 8 Eastern.
I bet you're right.
I want to say they do. It'll be interesting to see where they are in that pecking order of 10-2 teams at the end of it.
Maybe
that would be all over. That'd
not.
be all over the front page. Yeah, that'd be all over the front page.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think
maybe it's next Monday. I know it's close to time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's soon. Okay. It might be tomorrow. I was thinking the 4th or 5th. That'd be tomorrow. Be the 4th. But anyway, that's something we could talk about as well. There's 2 games left. Just sort of wanting to avoid. I'm sure you'd like to avoid those 2 mostly.
I say we talk basketball. I say we skip these games and just talk about basketball.
That sounds good. Oklahoma, Tennessee would be a good basketball game, probably.
It would be. It was last year.
Michigan, Purdue would certainly be a good basketball game.
That would be a very good basketball game. That's going to be a good basketball game. I'm sure they play this year, probably somewhere.
They certainly do. Yes, I think they have a home and home, in fact. So that's going to be a battle. Yeah, Michigan's playing right now. They're opened up with Oakland at home.
Okay.
Oaktown.
Yeah. Not much good basketball going on today. It's Arizona, Florida is the game of the night.
Okay, I'll watch a little bit of that. Yep. All right, well, let's get this shit out of the way here. I'll just start with the I don't know, the not as ugly one because Tennessee took care of themselves. Michigan 21, Purdue 16. Michigan was favored by 19 or 20, depending who you're looking at. Purdue's not a good football team, and now 0-6 in the Big Ten. They lost 7 straight games they've lost now. Michigan hangs on. That's the best I can say. They hang on to win. They're up 14-7 at half and just dud their way to a really uninspiring. We're regressing a little bit, or certainly not moving forward on offense. And gave up a few big plays to Purdue on defense as well. The best thing I say is the defense made some stops they need to, and Jordan Marshall was a dog. He had 165 yards rushing on 25 carries, 3 touchdowns, and
Haynes was out, wasn't he?
Haynes is out. He's going to be out probably a while. Yeah, he's going to be out probably. So he's in a walking boot, and best case people are saying is like maybe back for Ohio State. So we'll see about that. But, Marshall's done well too. He doesn't have that kind of press the hole and jump cut like a Corum or a Haynes does, but he'll get you 4 or 5 yards and lean forward. He's not had any negative plays all year. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He had a 25-yard reception, in fact, on a screen. He was excellent. And one person who was not excellent, especially that first half, was Bryce Underwood. He looked like the most freshman ever, missing guys. There was a drop in there, a couple drops, but some balls weren't exactly great. He just looks uncomfortable. He's getting happy feet, which means his ball's coming out hot. It's coming out high, coming out short, and he just looks uncomfortable. Now, I don't know if it's it's hard to say. Like, is there some line calls that are not getting done well, or whatever, depending on who the offensive line and his communication between those two things. Like, he's seeing ghosts when they're not necessarily there either, because he's darted away from some good pockets. Now, the couple things he did do well is he's able to scramble a few times and pick up first downs and pick up some positive yards when it looked like he was going to get sacked. But they also had a really bad interception in the red zone, and then he had a fumble that went into the end zone for a touchback, which is, by the way, I don't understand that rule. It's the dumbest damn rule
That's dumbest
in sports
ever.
It makes no sense. You fumble ball
I got
anywhere
a
else in the
dumber
field,
one.
it goes back to where it was. Oh, yeah? Okay.
I got yeah. I'll talk about Tennessee OU.
Okay.
I got a dumber
Nice.
one.
That's a little
Yep.
foreshadowing there.
Yep.
So yeah, you probably didn't see as much of this because that Tennessee game was on at the same time. But from what you did see and what you did, read and whatever, do you have any positive things to say, or?
No, nothing. I mean, nothing really positive. I mean, I guess the first thing I'll start off with and make a prediction right now is if Justice Haynes comes back for Ohio State, that'll be the last time you see Justice Haynes in a Michigan uniform.
Yes, I agree. We may
I
have
think
already
so.
seen that.
That's possible. If he don't come back for Ohio State, you won't ever see him again in a Michigan uniform. He'll go ahead and opt right on out and get ready to go to the NFL. So that's one
Yep.
down
Yep.
thing.
It's a bummer.
Another one is and I'll ask you. I mean, you're about the Michigan Wolverines, so you're the only person I know to ask is what do you when it comes to Underwood, do you think it is they've not made it simple enough for him yet, or they've made it as simple as they possibly can and he just don't get it yet?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, and I kind of um, fluctuate between the two and either sides,
Yeah,
because a lot
because
of times what they do is they don't really trust him to throw much over the middle. There's very few slants, there are very few seam routes thrown. It's a lot of balls to the flank, to the flats, to the wide receiver screens, occasional bubble screen, and a lot of balls to the sideline, like some
right,
back shoulder fade stuff. The problem is that he's not developed a really great touch yet, right? He can throw the ball from wherever. I
right,
mean, he's got not just quite Joe Milton's arm, but not far. But he's not developed some of that touch that we saw early in the year. Now it's there somewhere. Now if his confidence is shaken or what, but they also, like, they're not giving them these. There's no crossing routes. Like it's boot, throw it, throw the run to your left, like. I feel like sometimes they get it. They just have failed to get him in a real rhythm, and all that takes is another drop from wide receiver. Enter a bad throw here and there, and then it sort of snowballs. Now he did throw the ball better in the second half. He only threw the ball 9 times second half. He was 7-9
yeah,
second half.
right,
So they knew that, like, we just need to win this game. Our offensive line is mauling Purdue even with a stacked box. So let's just finish this game off and get the hell out of here to a bye this week, because we got all of our linebackers are hurt except for one.
right.
We got safeties hurt. Offensive line's finally kind of healthy enough, and all of our skill guys are true freshmen or redshirt freshmen, and they all look like they're wiped out mentally.
Right.
And so I can only hope this reset is going to be good for them, because they got to go to Northwestern and on the 15th. And that's not
Right.
Northwestern team. It's kind of scrappy. They got a good defensive line. They'll put up a fight, and that's not a gimme game at all. So
They
they're
lost
going to
this
look a lot
weekend,
better.
but who'd they lose to? But it was like a 1-score game. They lost, but it was like
they lost to
it wasn't Oregon. No, it was who was it?
no.
But it was, I mean, I feel
watched
like
the
it was a
game.
pretty good football team. Like it was a decent team they lost to, and it was only by a score.
Well, I think you're talking about last weekend.
Maybe
I think
it was.
they lost. Yeah, that was last weekend.
Did they play this weekend?
No, they had a bye last weekend.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was thinking of the weekend before then. Okay.
I think so. So yeah. Anyway, so that's Michigan has at Northwestern in 2 weeks, and at Maryland the next week, and then they'll get a host Ohio State. So
Right.
again, if they can put some things together, this time last year they kind of put it all together in offense and defense. They went out and beat Northwestern actually 50-6. They beat Ohio State, and then go on to beat Georgia, or sorry, excuse me, Georgia, Alabama in the
Right.
Who Cares Bowl. But if the trouble is, like, you have to get to these buys before you start making these changes and like looking interested and having good energy all the time. And I don't know, like, they just do a lot of rotations on defense. It's like, why is Derek Moore, who's one of the best sack defensive end in the country, only playing 40% of snaps? Like, what are we doing here, right? His backup's not Joey Bosa or anywhere.
Right.
It's not Aiden Hutchinson, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. There's just some weird things they do, but yeah, a win's a win this late, and it's not pretty, but it's better than 6-3 and 5-2, and getting ready to see what's Outback Bowl or whatever we're gonna play Tennessee
Right.
in.
Yeah, I stand by that prediction too. I swear it's I just feel it. I don't know where I feel it. It's somewhere in my gut, my bones, that these two
Your
teams will
bone.
be staring across from each other on New Year's Day, around New Year's Day, somewhere in Florida. I just think that's going to happen. They kind of look like, because they've not played together. They've not played each other since 2001. And they
God, I guess it's been that long, isn't it?
yeah, right. And that's the only time they've met in history
God.
is 2001.
Yes,
And
right. Yeah.
And it's like,
God, that's
they
cool.
just, and if a committee gets a chance to put those two teams together again, and one's 9-3, one's 10-2, or both of them are 9-3, or whatever the case is, and they get a
Right.
chance to do it,
Right.
I think they do it. I don't think they're going to put us against, Northwestern or someone
Right,
like
exactly.
that. I just think
Right.
it'll be
Iowa again. Yeah.
right. I just don't see it. But
Yeah, well, that'd be smart too, because like like you said, they only played once, and it's been 25 years ago
yeah.
almost.
Well, it was
And
like last
people
year
get
against
tired of
Alabama.
like watching the same games. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, Michigan played Alabama twice in a calendar year.
Yes, right. And while that's not ideal, but anytime you get a chance to put teams like that on the field together, you do it. So they weren't going to miss the
Right,
opportunity to do
absolutely.
it. Put Michigan, Alabama
Hell no,
together. Yes,
absolutely.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
So
Right. Well, they kind of need to, because these games are becoming less and less interesting unless you
right.
have some sort of marquee matchup, or at least two big names, matching up. Yeah,
Right.
Tennessee's going to get a lot of draw, but not Tennessee and, like you said, Northwestern.
No.
Tennessee, Michigan. Yeah, that's going to get some
Yes.
eyeballs. Whatever
So get some
whatever
eyeballs.
network has that. Right. Speaking of network, how did you watch the game this weekend? Because apparently ESPN, YouTube TV, which is what I have,
Right.
decided they can't agree on anything, and so we're going to black out the all the Disney channels, Disney Network, ABC, and ESPN. So I had to search around and find some off the record links for this Tennessee OU game. You have cable, I gather, so
Yeah.
you didn't have to worry about
Cable. Just pay for cable. Yeah. Got Spectrum, and we just pay for it and watched it. So, I guess on this game, I'll start off by saying what a wasted atmosphere that was.
Yeah.
That atmosphere was electric.
That place was a circus.
It
Wow.
was a zoo in there, dark mode. Everyone's in black. And they showed the entrance, which was badass. Everything goes dark, and they just light up the T as they run out. It's just everything lined up where you should. That atmosphere is where you got to take advantage of that.
Right.
But Tennessee relies on offense. We're an offensive first team this year. We've talked about it. You score a lot of points. You drag your defense across the finish line. That's what you do. Well, when it comes to playing offense, especially at a high level, you're not going to play if it's 1-10. You're not going to be a 10 every single weekend. No one is.
No.
You were a 10 in Kentucky last week. So you hit 6 deep balls last week. So you're never going to duplicate that. So you had to come down. They take the ball the first half, get the football 75 yards, 6, 7 plays, 8 plays, touchdown, bam. 3 and out, punt, ball back, driving down. You're inside the 40-yard line of Oklahoma. They lived inside the 40-yard line of Oklahoma in the first half. Lived there the whole half. And then one of the most crazy, you talk about a chain of events. They line up, they're inside the 40. I want to say they're inside the 30. Oklahoma lines up all sides. They don't get called. Left tackle turns a guy loose for some reason. He runs. He blocks down. Dude, I mean, that's your man. Hits the quarterback free rein. When he hits the quarterback, that football leaves the quarterback's hands and lands in an engaged defensive end on the other side, right into his right hand. And he's engaged with the tight end blocking him, Kitselman, and lands right in his arms. Like, you couldn't have went out there and handed him that football any better when that landed. And then you see Kitselman, for whatever reason, and this is, and I'll get to this at the end, but it's time to make a winning play. Now,
yeah,
you may just say, Chris, what the hell you mean a winning play? They just got an interception, run it back. A winning play is you can't let him have that touchdown. You can't let him have it.
You had him tackled.
You have to grab a face mask. If you got to grab a horse collar, it doesn't matter what you have to grab or do. Get onto your feet and push him out, force him to the out of bounds. You have to do something. It doesn't matter. Leg whip him and trip. It doesn't matter.
You spear him, like, get tossed if you have to.
It doesn't matter what happens. You have to get that ball carrier on the ground then, because you can't just engage him and hope your teammates come. Because I mean, the whole Oklahoma defense surrounded him as they run down the sideline.
Yeah, they had a convoy.
So you're the only person between a touchdown and not a touchdown. You have to get him on the ground. And you've seen Kitselman during the play. He was reaching across his face mask, reaching to the ball and the ball in his right hand, trying to swap the ball.
Right,
bro. And I hope his teammates give him so much shit when they're watching this film, because you talk about getting bitch slapped. You were engaged there. You're a big guy. All you need to worry about is getting that dude to the ground. Grab face mask, grab the back of the shoulder pads, and just lay down. Force him right to the ground.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get flagged, but you're not giving up a touchdown.
So what?
And you got shrugged off like you were just a little bitch holding on for dear life. And then he blows a hamstring on the way down the sideline and still scores.
Yeah. Yeah, that took forever for him to
Yes.
Well, get into the end zone, but he's 265
and he almost,
pounds.
And then I don't know if he stepped out of bounds or not. It looked close. They didn't even bother reviewing it.
It's pretty close. No, of course not. Why would you? Not a big player.
It just so much wrong with that. And that kind of set the tone. That was that whole play right there, which took about a minute to do, was a microcosm of the Tennessee offense in the first half. Well, for the game, really. Right. So you give up your 7-7. So you spend the whole first half on the inside the Oklahoma 40-yard line, and you go to half down 16-10.
Yeah.
And if every Tennessee fan, I can tell you I was, every Tennessee fan in that stadium had to know that's going to be a huge problem, because you dominated to the tune of 255 yards to 99 in the first half.
Right, and nothing to show for it, right?
And you were down 6. You come out second half, get a halftime. You come out second half, you get a 3 and out, you get a punt. You go down, Staley runs it in, you're up 17-16. It's time to make winning plays. And they just, like we talked about it at the Bama game, when it's time to make winning plays, this team does not make winning plays. They just don't do it.
Yeah.
And that was one. Kitselman had a drop. They couldn't run the ball very well. The play calling didn't help them out. They had a 4th and 1, down 1 score, and they decide to run a freshman tight end who's going to be really good. Van Dorsey is his name. Run him out of the backfield to try to pick up the first down. Aguilar hits him right in the face mask with the football. He gets a hand on it, but it's gone. It's just, when it's time to make a winning ball play, they don't make them. He has 2 interceptions. Yeah. He threw for 393. It wasn't like it was just a shit show. I mean, when he had a chance to make hay, he made it. He just gets greedy, and that's been the thing coming in. When he has 8 or 9 interceptions now. That was his thing coming in. He puts the ball in harm's way, and that's what he seemed to do. He wouldn't. Oklahoma would challenge him, and then they would burn him with Brazel and Staley and Mike Matthews. They would burn him, and so Venables made a terrific defensive adjustments in that he started backing off more. and they could control the run game with just 5 or 6 people, 7 people in the box,
right?
At most. And if you could do that, you could start dropping out, and all of a sudden you make a Tennessee offense that lives off big chunk explosive plays, be 9, 10, 11 play drives, 6 yards here, 7 yards there, converted 3rd down and 4 in there. Just make them be patient. And Joey Aguilar just was not patient. He threw the ball over the middle high, and that's a cardinal sin for a quarterback. And the next thing you know, Mateer runs, gets a couple first downs, and it just when it was time to make a winning play, someone needed to make something happen. They just couldn't do it. And it started with Kitselman in the first, and then that just set the tone for the rest of the game. So that 71-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown is the longest in Oklahoma school history.
Of course. I hate when I hear stuff like that. It just makes me so angry. Why?
So OU scored 13 points off the 3 turnovers, the scoop I guess it's interceptions, what you would call. Well, I don't know what the hell you would call it, because he wasn't throwing the ball, but it never hit the ground.
Call it?
So I don't know. Do you call that a fumble? Do you call it interception? I don't know what the hell you call it.
Well, let's see what they labeled it as here.
But
that's a good
3
question.
turnovers, they scored 13 points. So that's fumble.
Fumble. They call it a fumble.
Right.
Technically a fumble. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess so. If you're not throwing it forward, it would be a fumble, but it never hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first fumble.
Right, yes.
I mean, one of the only fumbles I've ever seen that never hits the turf.
Right. Yeah.
So that's not technically a scoop and score.
No.
But
no.
I said again, it's just this is one that it is what it is. I mean, Vegas had us at 8 or 9 wins. That's where we're going to land. In my opinion, I think we'll see what happens with Florida as far as what they turn into by the time we get down there, but you ain't won down there since 03. So in my opinion, you'll probably beat New Mexico State in 2 weeks, because like Michigan had the weekend off. So you're probably going to beat those guys, lose in Gainesville, beat Vandy at home, just because I won't believe Vandy wins in Neyland Stadium until I see it. But Pavia could certainly come in to do it. You know,
right. It might be a real shootout, 45-42 kind of game.
For sure. And that's where Tennessee's comfortable. Like, if you come in and say, hey, you take the way over because that's what's going to hit, I would feel really good about Tennessee's chances, because that's where they live. But I could see, I think they'll probably beat New Mexico, split Florida, Vandy, which means you lose in Florida, beat Vandy at home last game of the season, 8-4, and you're somewhere in Florida, playing. And I could easily see it being a 9-3 Michigan team somewhere in the Outback Bowl or something like that. I could easily see that. So depending on what happens in the playoff.
That's right. I think that's likely.
If you
go
to Florida and win, if they go to Florida and win, Delaney, and they beat Vandy and they're 9-3, and then Michigan drops that Ohio State game, I would bet any amount of money you want to bet that we see each other in a bowl game. 2 9-3s.
Oh yeah.
I'll guarantee you they see each other. Yes.
2 blue bloods? Absolutely. Because you're limited how many blue blood teams you're going to have. You know, like
all the good ones in the playoffs.
Exactly. Right. So this is going to make the regular bowls even less meaningful. I'm looking at the stats here, and obviously they don't tell a story. You guys held Oklahoma to 40% on 3rd down. You had more total yards. They had 11 penalties, Oklahoma did, but they also ran for nearly 200 yards too, and 5.5 yards a carry. That'll do it too. I know they had a big burst for a touchdown in there as well. So,
right.
I guess that's the turnovers.
The dumb rule.
Yeah,
rule we talked about. Okay, dumb rule. You're on the Oklahoma side, and you get the snap. You hit Kitselman over the middle. He walks in for a touchdown, right? They called I don't remember if it was illegal procedure or illegal formation. The wide receiver's shoulders were not square to the line of scrimmage. That was the call. So they're up past the sideline. So Staley and Mike Matthews are turned back with their shoulders parallel to the sideline, getting a call.
Sure.
And Aguilar snapped the ball. And they called illegal formation because the shoulders were not square to the line of scrimmage. Absolutely has zero impact on a football play. Zero. And they pull it out.
Like, as you
They called that twice in a game, Brian. They called it on Tennessee and they called it on Oklahoma in the same game. Kirk Herbstreit was like, I've never seen that called in my life, and now I've got it twice in one game. So
that's ridiculous.
Just a kooky game.
That's awful.
Yeah.
That's the refs like look at me kind of stuff. Like you know how many thousands of times over the years that could have been called and they didn't.
Yep. It's
you see who's lined up, who's covered up, know, based on the tight end alignment and everything. Like you know who it is. If you're defense, you know who's eligible, who's not.
Yeah. If the wide receivers are off the line of scrimmage, or someone went out for a pass and he was covered up, stuff that gets called, yeah, it sucks. But that's on the player, right? You got to know how to line up.
Exactly.
But
yes,
you're just looking back to your own sideline and the ball, and you're lined up correctly in a formation, and that ball gets snapped. And because your shoulders are not square to the line of scrimmage, you throw a flag on that. That is, and then you wind up missing a field goal. So it backs you up, you don't convert, and then you miss a field goal.
Right, like that's such a swing. There are points. Like there's a difference between these games sometimes. Like this, you lost by 6. You got a bad fumble. Can't get a tackle. Then you have this stupid play like this. Like these are the plays, and you said it earlier, and this is another example of teams that just can't quite make the big plays or the right plays or the important plays at the right time, and they end up, losing because of that. And I've seen it a million times myself as a Michigan fan. Like you play loser ball, and when you can't make that tackle, or you have a dumb false start penalties, and that backs you up out of field goal range, like that. Those are enough to kill you. Like those add up. They may not have anything like it's middle of the second quarter, but like those 3 points could matter, and that would have mattered for Tennessee this game, man.
The OU kicker who was wearing Daisy Dukes, I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I did see it. What the hell? I did see someone did I assume it was a Photoshop, because those shorts kept getting shorter and shorter. He was like wearing a Speedo basically,
but he made 3 kicks over 50, 2 55-yarders. I mean, that dude has a leg. Now, and they kind of give Heupel a little crap over this call. But one of the biggest ones was 3rd down and 7, and you were it was in field goal range at 55 yards from that spot. They get a holding call. They don't complete a pass or anything. They just do straight up pass. They get a holding call. So Heupel declines the penalty instead of making it 3rd and 17, and you take them out of field goal range. You decline the penalty. Now that you hadn't already seen him make a kick. This is the first kick he made, the first 55-yarder. So if you're
sure,
I didn't mind the call if I am for Heupel. I myself, in my opinion, that early in the game, you've not seen him make one from that distance. I know my defense is not good. I know my defense will give up 3rd downs. I know my defense will pass interfere.
3rd and 17's.
Yes,
I guess right where they
so much can happen to give them an automatic 1st down. I can live and then possibly getting 7 out of that deal. I would much rather sit back and take 3 and let them get 3 and watch this kid make a 55-yarder and roll the dice with that than I would with my defense out there on 3rd and 17. That's how much I don't believe in the Tennessee defense. Josh Heupel don't believe in the Tennessee defense, or he would have backed them up. If it was the defense from last year, he backs them up, makes them take that play again. This year, you've seen enough of them to know that there's so much this team can do wrong to give them an automatic 1st down. Make that kid make a 55-yard field goal, and they only get 3 out of the deal. I thought it was a total right call myself. Yes. Yeah, one way or another. If they've got 3 and he's made from 55, hey, tip of the cap, bro. Nice kick.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Let's go play offense.
That's a college kicker. That doesn't happen very often, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it ain't Justin Tucker out there, right?
No, right, exactly.
It's not Adam Vinatieri. It's some rando kid wearing Daisy Duke football pants from 55 yards. 55 yards. So you just you make him make that kick, and then you live with 3, knowing that the odds of something happening on the back end of that on 3rd and 17. Mateer, he converted a couple of those 3rd down runs, pass interference, late hits on quarterbacks, straight up completions down the center of the field because your safety play sucks. There's so much they can do to convert that 3rd down to turn it into 7 where you just live with the 3. So I didn't have a problem with it.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Was that criticized by Fowler and Herbstreit in the moment, or did
Well,
they
they kind of
kind
they
of
just
agree with it?
discussed
Or
it a little bit. It was more on message boards
yeah,
and on the local sports shows around here. They discussed it, and they were kind of at half and half with it. And the argument was, well,
right.
that the the Oklahoma pass offense doesn't scare you, which is true. They hadn't converted a third down all game up until then, which is true. But
Sure.
I've seen. I mean, it's game 7 or 8 now. I've seen enough of the Tennessee defense to know that make them make a 55-yarder and only get 3. That's
Right.
that seems like a win to me
That's
because at
that
the end of the
sounds
day,
to
the
you
three
a
don't
lot about
matter.
your defense.
Right. It
No,
does.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
A lot about your defense. So,
So,
oh well, I think that covers all the major games this weekend. There was not a lot of like, oh, this is an amazing weekend, which we kind of alluded to. There were some good games, including this one here, but there was not any like real incredible games. So, um,
no barn burners or anything like that.
nothing like that. No, not this weekend. We'll have the preview show here soon, but we're going to wrap up a couple things here. We need to talk about the coaches addition to the You're Fired list. That was
Yeah.
one that we called. We called that one. That was an easy one. We shouldn't pat ourselves on the back too much because, well, Hugh Freeze is a mediocre football coach, and Auburn took a shot and they failed, and they took a loss 10-3
Hey,
to Kentucky. That's a
I don't blame
bad,
them for
bad
hiring Hugh
loss.
Freeze. I don't. The what he
Yeah,
what he was at Ole Miss and you're Auburn and you've been floundering. I didn't blame him for hiring Ole Miss. Now it didn't work out or hiring Hugh Freeze. It didn't work out. Is what it is.
sure.
But I didn't blame him at the time.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, they just the problem for them is like they're battling against Bammer, right? And they
Right.
had Bammer has an all-time greatest coach ever for 15 years or whatever it was, and now they got another great coach in DeBoer. It looks like so. You're just struggling to where do we fit in at here if you're Auburn? And I don't know. Like you're going to spend some money. You're going to do what you can, but they're going to have to find the right guy. I don't know who the right guy is for them, man, but they're a
Well,
bad football program.
and this is what I was talking about earlier. We was going to talk about the crown jewel is Lane Kiffin, right? That's the
Right.
crown jewel of the coaching. So there's going to be Penn State, LSU, Auburn, Florida, and we ain't done yet, Delaney. Those
No,
high major teams are all going to be gunning for one guy and one guy only, and that's one Lane Kiffin.
absolutely.
And even throw Ole Miss into that because they're going to have to try to keep Lane
They're going to
Kiffin
pony
around,
up. Yeah, best they
right?
can. Absolutely.
So all these high major schools are going to be and it's going to be an all-out arms race for money and guaranteed money and sign-on bonuses and NIL. We'll give you this much in NIL money. It's going to be crazy. And don't and Lane Kiffin is the one coach that would go out there and just sit back and be like, let's just see how high we can take this sucker. Let's see how high
Right.
we can drive
Absolutely.
this payday up to. Let's just see how high we can go. And then he'll take the whatever he could. He, I'm gonna predict it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm gonna predict it right now. I'll bet you wherever he's coaching football next year, he is the highest paid football coach in college.
I think that's pretty reasonable. Yeah, I think you're right. Like he could just be like, he's in a no lose situation. He stays in Ole Miss. They're going to extend him and give him all kinds of money. If he decides he wants to go live in Gainesville, they're going to empty out every bank account they can to get him there. Right? They need to. Anywhere he goes, he's going to be upgrading. And yeah, I mean, who's the highest paid right now? So obviously Dabo's up there. Probably
Yep, that
Brian
was up there.
Day's up
Ryan
there.
Day, yeah, yep, he's up there.
Um,
Dan Lanning's probably
Sark.
getting paid.
I'm not sure. Dan Lanning.
Sarkeesian.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. So, there's a handful of guys that are right there. I'll tell you what, whether he's number one or not, I bet he's in the top two or three. And
Yeah,
why not, right? I mean, he's taken Ole Miss to heights that they've never dreamed of being, right? And
they're a playoff team.
they're a playoff team. Absolutely, they are.
There's a lot
Absolutely.
of teams that would have
Unless
lost to South Carolina this
shit the bed.
weekend after what they did at Oklahoma last weekend, going and getting that win, and then having South Carolina at home, which is a humongous letdown game. And you roll in there, you score 30, defense looks fine, and you just take care of business, workmanlike. You just get it done.
Yep.
Never in doubt. Let's get out of here.
Let's go
That's
home.
a mature football team.
Yep. Yeah. That's a mature Lane Kiffin too, compared to where he was at Tennessee or SC or wherever else. He's been like, they've got a good culture there clearly to be able to stay focused like that, because that could be really difficult, right? There's other games coming up, including the Egg Bowl. Like that's could be distracting. So yeah, what was the other thing? Was that the other thing you're saying? Just the coaches thing?
Yeah, the Lane Kiffin thing for sure.
Yeah. So did we make any money?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. had people tuned in.
Are we broke?
And no, we're not broke, not quite yet. But we're not recouping the 147. I can tell you that. But starting with our against the spread and our straight up and our over under, if people would have listened, they'd have made them some money. 24 picks this weekend for that. 24 picks. It's uncanny how close we are. We both went 14-10.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Wow. That's right. We would have made some money.
Yeah,
wow. 14-10 last year. Last week.
14-10.
Last week you were like 13-13. I was 14-12 or something like that. Yeah. We're both even, Steven.
I'm telling you, it's crazy, and that's even after we started alternating between games. And we'll just do that from now on. We do these picks. We'll just alternate. I go, you go. So we're not just following along with one another or anything like that, and make it. But yeah, 14-10. Sure. I did it last night. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, but it was awesome. But anyway, let's get down to the nitty gritty, the real greenbacks here. All right.
Green. So lack of.
Yeah. Green lacks, not greenbacks.
Yeah, right.
So for those that don't know,
careful.
I did a 5 years per ChatGPT SEC home team winning percentage on the field, who wins the football game. I included Oklahoma and Texas, even though they've been in the league for a few years. The number was 70%. 70% over the last 5 years. So what we did is we invested $147 and we put it on every home team that I could put it on throughout the year. Year to date. Well, recap. Last week we came in at 33-19, 63.5%. From 147 down to $29.23 because we took, and we were up and around that 147 mark the whole year until last weekend when we walked into a landmine of games that were all one score, so close, 1-4, and just total botchery. We come to this week, needed we had 5 games. Yes, 5 games. We needed a 4-1 or a 5-0. We got a 2-3. We had losses OU at Tennessee. We had losses Mississippi State at Arkansas, and losses Kentucky at Auburn. All right, so all 3 of those home teams lost.
Yeah.
Only one that kept us in it was, or only 2 that kept us in it was Ole Miss and South Carolina. They held up their end of the deal. Yep. And then it was Texas and Vandy. They held up their end of the deal too. So
sure. Right.
Yep. So that was a 2. So that is 2-3. That is a 40% winning percentage. So that makes the year to date 35-22, 61.4 winning percentage for the year right now.
Okay.
For SEC home teams. Okay. We went from $29.23 down to $18.51 for the year. So we're getting close to being bankrupt here, like Monopoly. We need to pass go and get $200.
Yeah.
So 61.1%, $18.51 left. So we're minus $128.49 for the year on SEC home teams. This is why, and we talked about it already, This is why no one bets this every year and just makes money. This is exactly why.
Right. It's money line, not going to make you money.
Yep. And my bet is the next 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, I guess, next 4 weeks, I'll bet you we land close to 70%, but there's no way we're recouping $147. There's just no way it's happening. We don't have enough now to do
big
it.
Wins.
Right. So I got to divide up $18 this weekend and see what happens.
Everyone's getting $3 bets, 6 games.
Yeah. And that's why you're not going to make anything, because there's a lot of favorites on their home fields. And so, and the upsets have not been happening. Now, what I'm going to do next year, I'm going to do the same bet next year, probably $150. I'm going to do the same thing. But what I'm going to track better is I'm going to track who, out of the percent of the 70% or whatever it is, I'm going to track home winning percentage for favorites, home winning percentage for underdogs. And we're going to divide that up.
Sure.
And see how bad the discrepancy is, because that's what's did us in this year is home underdogs have been trash. And last weekend especially. But they had so many chances to not be, like 1-score games leading in the fourth quarter. If just a couple, 2-3 games go different for us over the last 2 weekends, we're up.
Oh, yeah.
We're well up.
We're way up. That was like the damn Alabama game. We should have cashed out.
Should have cashed out, but that's not the bets. That's not what we're doing.
That's right.
So I said, I think over the next 5 weeks, I think it brings it up to 70, but I don't think we recoup anywhere close to our 147. If we got back to $100, I'd be amazed if we do. So
quite surprised, right?
Right, because it would compound.
That'd be hilarious if we end up.
It's 5 weeks, and then a bet turns into double, then as we go. So you never know. If you need 5 good winning weekends, and you could get up there.
Sure. It would be hilarious if it ended exactly at 70.0% and we lost every dollar. We came out at $0.
Yeah. Well,
that would be so perfect for us, wouldn't it?
Your sister told me, she says, Chris, when you bet, you don't do and I don't. Like, that's why I don't gamble. I don't gamble because I would lose every dime doing it, because I would get obsessed with it. And I don't go in depth enough to be good at it anyway, right? I just don't. I've seen this, and this didn't take a real deep dive to figure out 70% over the last 5 years. So did that. I was still 147 at it, and just see what happens. And that was it. So to be good at gambling, you need to do way more studying than I would ever do.
Absolutely.
Although we didn't go 14 and 10 this week.
We did, right? Yeah. So if you just against the spread, and straight up, we can help you out. Otherwise, I would say don't play the money line on SEC home game.
No, you have lost your ass this year.
Now, this is a sample size of 1 year.
Right.
So, we'll do this again, like you said, next year and see if it changes. But also, like you said, you'll have a little better data too to be able to make a more informed opinion on it. But it's, it's college football landscape. It's changing so much that, gosh, who knows, like, how much different it'll look another year from now, how much more balance there are, like.
For sure. The portal, NIL, and all that has brought all these teams way closer than they was 5 years ago. So every year they're getting closer, closer, and closer and closer. And now they're so close. Like this past weekend, every SEC team, every SEC game period was a 1-score game besides Ole Miss. Every single one of them. So it just tells you the parity in the league. And I'd venture to say, and I've not checked any numbers or data on this, but I'd venture to say I bet you the Big Ten looks a lot like it.
Oh, I suspect so, right? The 2 teams that are ruining it for everyone else are Ohio State and Indiana, where they're killing people.
Right.
But otherwise, the rest of the 16 teams pretty similar.
Yep,
absolutely.
I think so too.
It's Ohio State, Indiana, and then like
a huge drop off,
small grouping.
Well, not a huge
drop off,
a pretty good drop off to Oregon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So then there's after Oregon, then there's just a muddle of a handful of teams, like Illinois and Michigan, USC, and Iowa. That are right there. Then you have another drop off, and then you got the bottom where you got Purdue, and you got it's gonna be UCLA. I guess they're still kind of down that way, but yeah, I just that's the new landscape. That's good, I guess. Like you don't have to worry about Bama winning 4 out of 5 rings or whatever. Like
I don't
people
know
get
that
tired
ever
of that
happens
anyway.
again. I don't know that ever happens
I
again. The
can't
way this
imagine.
is going, you can't hoard the
Can't
players like
imagine.
Georgia Bama did. I don't know. I don't see anybody going on a run like that Bama run where Saban wins 6. I don't think there's going to be a coach
Right.
out of school that just totally, utterly dominates the whole college football landscape like he did. I just don't see it. Kirby had a
No.
chance, and then NIL happened, and now it ain't going to happen.
Yes, and then it's nope, absolutely. Yeah, he had that one shot that next year after he won a title and couldn't quite put together. But like, yeah, now he's battling bad Florida team to win.
Right.
That's 4 years ago. Florida had current talent, and Georgia had their 5 year ago talent. That'd have been a bloodbath.
Yes. Right. Yeah, any of the Georgia teams that won the national championship would have absolutely mudhole stomped that Florida team yesterday.
Oh my God!
And they're just or
21
Saturday.
team in particular.
Right.
Yeah.
That team was insane, and so you're not going to get those anymore. Good players are
nope.
They're getting paid somewhere else to go play football, and
Texas Tech, for example, Houston,
yes,
for example.
Yes. Yep. Yep. You put some money behind it, and you could field a good roster. If your coaches is halfway decent, you're Texas Tech. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, exactly. You're on the playoff hunt, especially when it's going to 16 teams. It's increase those odds for you. And if you're getting the playoffs, like you'd have to be, if Ryan Day starts going 9-3 and getting the playoffs and losing the first game, then you start worrying about that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, right? That's short of a disaster. So yeah, it's the parity is good. I think overall, it's difficult because the parity is good at the top, but then you have teams like Northwestern or Purdue. They don't have the money that Michigan, Ohio State does. Like this. Vanderbilt's not. Kentucky's not going to spend that much on football. And so it's going to even things out. There's going to be the high class teams at the top, and that's your Tennessees, your Michigan, Ohio States, all those teams that can spend the money. Then you have another layer of, like your Purdue's and Minnesota's and Vanderbilt's and Kentucky's and South Carolina's. And then you have another tier that's just like, we don't have any money. So we're broke.
We're just always going to be here.
Right.
And you're talking about Kentucky. You know what's got to burn on Mark Stoops' biscuits is the fact that Kentucky dropped $22 million on that basketball roster this year.
Right.
$22 million on that basketball roster. You'll never convince me they got $22 million in NIL and football for the football roster.
No way.
You ain't going to convince me of it.
No way.
No way that happened.
Nope.
And the Kentucky basketball roster is $22 million.
Yeah, 10 guys, whatever.
I think the NCAA should make them be transparent with that money, and it gets posted every year how much your roster's worth in NIL money, how much has been invested to your roster. Every team should have to post it. This is how much we spent.
That'll be that might be something that happens in the future, right? Especially the public schools. Like the state of Michigan and the state of Tennessee would like, where's this money going to? Like, exactly.
Right.
All right, let's account for this, right?
Yeah, even do it for the whole athletic department.
That'd be quite interesting. Mm-hmm.
Your total NIL
absolutely, right.
And how much of it's allocated to
right.
Yes.
The football versus, and I think that those numbers might come different. I mean, there's no way.
They will eventually, but it'll be years in the future before no one gives a shit anymore.
Right. Right, exactly. It's like, it's just whatever. We already knew, Ohio State football program puts more money in than they do for the women's swimming.
Of course they do.
No shit, really? Okay.
But it would be I would the post that for the whole athletic department going into the year, right? Before the first game.
Yes.
Whenever it gets posted, athletic department's NIL budget was whatever. This was allocated to each team on campus, percentage wise. This is how much every team got, and and it's all transparent. It's like the refs talking during the reviews. It's so transparency is so good.
Yes.
Some people hate it. So I mean, if I went to every AD in the country and said, "Hey, let's do a secret vote on you being transparent with NIL," that son of a bitch loses in a landslide because they don't want that number
Absolutely.
out there.
Yes, exactly. Not at all. Right. Exactly.
No,
Right. Because that
nope.
causes all kinds of Title IX issues and everything else. Right.
Yes, but if you held that vote and your vote got posted like an AP voter for like the AP poll, it would be really interesting to see who voted to want it and who voted it didn't.
Absolutely. Yes. Right. Yeah. You better think carefully what you decide there, because yeah,
That's
I
the
hope so. I mean, I think they're treating these, institutions, they're treating them like employees, so to speak. Like that's
right.
something that's could be public record for somebody, like whether a professor at UT or wherever else. Like it's not a stretch that eventually get there. Yeah, I mean, people would be naive to think that Texas's football team's not spending the most money compared to their,
Of course.
men's gymnastics or their rowing or even the basketball team, right? I mean,
Right.
each school can spend $20.5 million uh, per season. I mean, that is a big allocation they're going to go to, your 5-star recruit. And also, I wonder, interesting that football player, it'd be interesting to see, like, all right, who's the top 5 teams who are spending, and who are the top 5 teams in the recruiting, who's the
Yep.
top 5 teams in the portal, and
There'll
they're
be
going to be like
correlation.
this.
There's going to be
Yes,
correlation.
it will be, right? Yes, there is, absolutely.
For
And
sure.
then, like over the next 2 or 3 years, say what's your record look like? How far did you get into? You better been in the playoffs. How far did you get in the playoffs? And what is
Right.
your record in the regular season, titles, that kind of thing too. So those metrics will be available at some point. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, but as I said, like we said, way down the road when no one gives a shit anymore. In
Mhm.
2035, you can look back, man, look at that Michigan roster. They spent $15 million on that football roster and played in the Outback
That's
Bowl.
it.
You know,
This is
well,
bullshit,
no one
right?
cares then, right? Yeah, no one cares then.
Right,
So
exactly,
it's
right.
and rumor around the water cooler is that's a lot of the reason why Tony Vitello is no longer the baseball coach at Tennessee is
Coach.
some funds got allocated to leave and the baseball team had to bear the brunt of some of that.
Got
And he wasn't a fan
shortchanged.
of it.
Okay.
And maybe not shortchanged so much as they just didn't for what they accomplished. He just didn't feel like they were getting the money they deserved to try to get out of the
Sure.
And
Right.
and then, but the thing is he's getting a new stadium, a $100 million stadium. You're getting a new stadium. And while I love baseball, and I never thought I would say that when it comes to college baseball, but the team's easy to
Right.
root for. They're fun. It's fun. The baseball games are an event. Like you go to a baseball game, it's an
It's an
event.
environment. No.
It's something else. So all that's cool. At the end of the day, they're in the red at the end of the year. They are funded
Absolutely.
purely
Right.
by that football team over there. Football and men's basketball, the only two sports on campus that make any money.
Absolutely.
Every other
Right.
sport
Yeah.
is in the red. Anywhere from a few $1 million to I think the Lady Vols were $4 million in the hole last year. You just
And that's a proud, long-standing program that has a lot of history.
When Pat Summitt was there, someone who worked at UT, the athletic department, told me when they came in, they was getting a car service. I forget where. I might have been Acura at the time, something like that. So it'd been a long time ago, and Pat Summitt was there still. Said that per the athletic department at UT and pretty much any athletic department, if the women's basketball team could just break even, they're throwing parties. Like that is absolute. That is
I suppose, huh?
Connecticut women's basketball don't even make money, and that's South
crazy.
Carolina women's
Think about
basketball
it.
don't make money. Like they're winning all the national championships, and they make not a single dollar for the school. They are in the red, being funded by bigger teams on campus.
Yeah, I wonder, like even the Caitlin Clark couple years there, her last couple years at
Right.
Iowa, I bet they didn't make a lot of money if they did at all.
I would love to know.
Like,
I would love to know, but
yeah, I'd be curious. Yeah. All right. Well, just gonna wrap it up. Unless you have anything else, I think we've concluded this week's recap. Not exactly, fun things to talk about selfishly for both of us.
Well,
I mean, I got a W. I guess I should shut the fuck up, probably. But
hey, when you get a minute, when you get a minute,
There's
why
the-
don't you take a second and just shut the fuck up?
Like, we could do that, right?
Now,
Oh yeah. Well,
it's college football and it's great, but you just someone made a comment today on the message board that is Josh Heupel or James Franklin. That one got me right in the old feels when I heard seen that. Was like, oh
that stings a little
no.
bit.
It's like, well,
what's the data?
it's hard
say?
for
Is
me
it-
to
is there
make
any
an
truth?
argument against it right now. The thing I hope is this will turn in. He'll figure this thing out and get it. It took Jim how long, right? Took Jim how long?
Well, let's see, 6 years.
Yeah,
6 years before he beat Ohio State.
Right, before he beat Ohio State. So,
and that's the trigger. Like that's what propels you
Right.
forward. You can
Yes.
beat Illinois, Northwestern, everyone all the time, every year, 10-2. He had lots of 10-2s, 10-3s, playing in the Orange Bowl against Florida State. That's a great game. So that was 2017, 18, whatever it was. Like those are good games. But now, like it's different. And so when you can beat Ohio State and you go on a run for 4 years in a row, three under him, like that's what propels you into the playoffs, into Big Ten titles, and to eventual national titles. So, yeah, I mean, what year is this for Heupel? This is
5.
four,
Year 5.
5. Okay, right, year 5. So, yeah, it's not a linear thing, but also like didn't Saban win a title within 3 years?
Yeah,
like
he did.
of course he's a different animal. Like you can't compare him with Saban. He's winning titles at LSU and Bama, of course, lots of them.
And
So
he has a.
he's sort of the outlier.
Before we go, just think back
Yeah.
to 2006 when they hired Nick Saban. Every single person, except for those in Bama land, when they said we're signing Nick Saban for $4 million a year, everyone said Alabama is absolutely crazy spending that much money on a football coach. Everybody said those guys are nuts. That they're never going to get a return on that much money. They are going to be broke.
Right.
Well, those people were wrong.
And he just shit the bed in the NFL too. Boy, when you talk about returning your investment, good grief.
Yeah, and that drove every other coach's salary up to where now, Heupel makes $9 million now. $9 million a year. So does Kiffin.
Yeah.
Kiffin's got a big
$9
raise.
million to punt on. Yes. Yeah. $9 million to punt on 4th and 3 from the plus 40.
Right.
Gets into the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, this is it for this episode, this somber episode, this likely playoff eliminating episode for Tennessee. Michigan's looking at that. They're trying their best to join you in the Outback Bowl, and if they keep playing like they have, we're gonna be watching the game together.
Yep,
just gonna watch the game together. So, all right, that's Chris. I'm Brian. This is Hopefully No Podcast. If you like this show, save it, whatever YouTube or Spotify, whatever you look at it on. Save it, subscribe, comment, send Chris an email, tell him you like his hair, whatever you want to do. Like,
sure. Want to hear the feedback.
But share the show. Yes, exactly. Yes. Absolutely. Good or bad, whatever. Yeah, just not the looks. Like we know we're not. That's fine. Just the content, right? Content. All right. So, all right,
looks ain't everything.
Talk to you soon. That's
do the funeral home music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.